works. All right, so we're talking about creating engagement with live video. First question is, how many people do live video on a regular basis? Cool. That doesn't surprise, it doesn't surprise me at all. So when you're talking about live video, we already did the roll call, so we don't got to worry about that. So a lot of people ask me, like, why live video? Here's a few reasons as to why. Facebook's went on record saying that they give more reach to audience using live video. They flat out said that this is the way they want to start going. They feel like it creates more meaningful engagement. So they want live video. So to do that, they open up the audience a little bit more. We all know with the algorithm and the restrictions that they have, they keep a pretty tight leash on comments and things like that. Pay no attention to all the chain letters that people get saying that Facebook's blocking people, their friends, and all this other stuff. It's really not. It's just all based on engagement. Their algorithm says they try to predict who you want to talk to based on who you are commenting on. So if you're not commenting on people's stuff, then they're going to start reducing that reach for you. So engagement is key. And they have said that using Facebook Live is probably the best way to create engagement. Facebook Live drives 10 times the rate of non-live videos. So when it comes to engagement on live videos, it is 10 times more than just doing a regular video, because people have the opportunity to respond and have conversations. And that's what Facebook wants. They're really pushing that meaningful relationships and building relationships using live video. Facebook video is growing about 94% a year. And that was, I believe, 2 years ago. So I can only imagine with the whole COVID thing, how it's grown in probably the last 6 months. It's probably it's been ridiculous. But these are some of the reasons why you should probably use live video. First things first, stop overthinking it. Everybody, they think that doing a live video is this big, live, scary thing. It's really not. They're like, well, why would my friends want to see what I'm doing and stuff like that? They wouldn't be on your Facebook if they didn't want to know what you're doing on a regular basis. That's the beauty of Facebook. People get to be able to see what people are doing, and you get to kind of dictate that. When I say they're your audience, which, did I spell audience wrong? It doesn't look right. Anyway, they're, and people are like, well, it's my friends list or my family or whatever else. They are your audience. They are a group of people that want to know what you're doing. So everyone in your audience could be a potential customer for you, or be an influence on your business in some way. So treat them as such. So just stop overthinking it. I know it freaks you out to hit the live button, but we're going to give you a couple things that you can do when you're planning it to maybe feel a little bit better about it. What do you need? Not a lot. People think that you need like this whole big production. You really don't. You need a really good internet connection. I can tell you that. The internet connection is probably the biggest key point. I'll see a lot of people do live videos and they're pixelated and they're really terrible. So make sure that you have a good Wi-Fi connection. And if you can't hook up to a Wi-Fi, make sure that your internet connection on when it comes to if you're using your phone, make sure you have a ton of bars, because it might look really good to you, but everybody else looking at it, it's pixelated and it looks really, really bad. So, and it really sucks to lose to drop a call in the middle of doing a live video. Other thing, what do you want to use? You want to use your phone or you want to use your computer? Computer gives you a few more options, because you can do Facebook Producer, and it gives you can create polls and you can do some other stuff. The phone, you can do the masks, so you can create crazy masks and get people's attention that way. And you can now pull people in. So if I was doing a live video and I wanted to pull Travis in and ask his input on something, I can request for him to do it, and it would do a side-by-side, and you can kind of do an interview format that way. So there are different ways to do it, but I prefer using the phone. It's just easier. I will say, when you're doing the phone, hold it sideways and make sure that it changes sideways, because if you are doing a live video and you start vertical and then you flip it, it will go crazy on the actual live video. So once you're in the live video, you can't change it. So always do it sideways. So when you're holding your camera, you're holding it basically this way, not this way, because if you do, it's going to create you that skinny little screen and you won't be able to repurpose it later. So anybody have any questions so far? Because I feel like I'm going very fast. I don't have any questions.
No questions so far.
Cool, perfect. Lighting is another one. I know Michelle Kipling was on here at one point before, and she was talking about doing different lighting and making sure you're using LED and natural light. Use natural light when you can. That always works really well for people. But if not, use LED or use natural light. And I know that she said there's like a certain amount of lumens. I want to say it's 5,000, but I'm not 100% sure. But what you can do is you can actually make sure that there's not a lot of like light behind you. If it is, make sure it's natural light. So if you're sitting next to a window or anything like that, you can do that. Bill is in like a bright room, a brighter room, so it works out really well. Travis, you are too. You do have the window behind you, but you've reflected some of the light. So it's definitely making sure lighting is important. Tripod. So if you're going to use a phone, I recommend doing some type of tripod. You can buy one super cheap. This is one that I have right now. It basically just you can do it pretty much other way. You can wrap it around you can wrap it around something and then you hold it there, and then this just snaps your phone into it. I think I bought this for I think $16 on Amazon, and it works out really, really well. So sound is another one. I didn't put sound on here, but you always want to make sure that you're testing it and make sure your sound is okay, because if not, someone's going to probably mention it to you. So right now, like I have right now, it's just a basic lapel mic. I bought it for $12 on Amazon. It has a splitter, so you can actually, if you're interviewing somebody else, you can run another lapel mic to it, and hopefully it sounds clear enough for you. But on your phone, the microphone on your phone is usually fantastic. So everything you have to be able to run a live video is sitting in your pocket right now. All you have to do is hit the button and do it. So the last one is personality. You want to put your personality in your business. And I always tell people, when you're running your page, your business page and your personal page should emulate each other. You need to put your personality and your passion in your business, and that should show when it comes to your business, when it shows to your business page. So you either have to figure out, and the two work together. So if somebody knows that you run this business, they're going to go to your personal page and they're going to see what you're doing on your personal page. So two things: they don't want to see all business on your personal page. So don't use your personal page as a bridge to just business. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see your hobbies. They want to be able to create a relationship with you before they buy something for you. So if you are going to run, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to run a live video on your personal page, you can do that. Or you can run a live video from your business page and then share it onto your personal page while you're running the live video, because then your audience is going to see both. So similar to what I'm doing right now, the video is running on TCP networks, but I shared it to my personal page so my audience on my personal page can see it. So, and if that doesn't make sense, reach out to me and I can kind of explain it into more detail. So, but make sure that you have personality, smile, and then we're going to show the next slide, if it wants to work. There it goes. So you want to test your equipment. So to be able to do that we'll show you in a second on how you can do that. Write down your key points. Don't write down everything you want to say, but have probably 5 or 6 key points as to what you really want to touch on, and make sure that you drive those home. So like I said, write down about 4 or 5 of them, and then you kind of know, these are the things that I want to know that I want to bring up and how much time I want to spend on them. So location is very important. So if you're in a location, you might want to you want to make sure it's quiet. You want to make sure there's not a lot of background noise. You don't want to make sure that there's a lot of stuff going on behind you, because a lot of people, they get very easily distracted. So if there's something behind you to distract them, they're not going to be paying a lot of attention to what you're saying. They're going to be paying attention to different stuff. Like Very similar to when you see somebody selling something on Marketplace and they're trying to sell like a pair of jeans and they have all this garbage around it. I never pay attention to the product they're trying to sell. I'm paying attention to how dirty their house is. So, and maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm weird that way. And do a test run. So over here on this this picture that I have here for the with the arrow and everything else, when you do a live video, it'll ask you where you want to share it on your timeline, and it will ask you who you want to show it to. So usually it'll say public or it'll say friends. If you do this drop down box right here that says only me, only you will see it. So you can run a live video and the only one that's seeing it to be able to test to make sure your mic works and make sure your lighting looks okay. Because when it shows the preview before you hit live and then you hit live, it might look a little bit different. And don't be surprised if you see a delay, because running the live video that we're all watching right now it has a delay. So the Zoom is going exactly the way it's going, but if you jump over to the live video, it has like a 5-second delay to it. That's perfectly okay, because if somebody's watching it live and they're not actually on the Zoom call, they won't even realize that there's such a delay. So you'll notice it because, again, you're seeing two sides of it. But don't worry, the delay is natural. It's supposed to be there. So but this is a way that you can actually test it on your page to make sure that everything's going smoothly. So I did this twice this morning to make sure that the Zoom call was actually working properly, and it was working properly. So I had very little problems making sure that this wasn't going to work. It was going to work. So any questions so far?
Nothing yet.
Perfect. So this is an acronym that one of the influencers uses, and I think that it's a fantastic way. So when you're trying to plan on what you're doing, you want to basically, they call it BLAST. So what do you want your Zoom, or what do you want your live to be? So a lot of people are doing behind the scenes content. This is fantastic. If you are running a restaurant or you're doing any type of, if you're doing a tutorial on anything, behind the scenes content right now, people love it. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know how this is operating. If you're a restaurant and you have a signature dish or you have something like that, and you show your chef or your cook putting it together, or you're just showing how you guys are sanitizing everything to keep people safe with all this COVID stuff, people really enjoy seeing behind the scenes. You know, it's always funny because people are like, you know, you like to eat the sausage, but you don't necessarily like to know how it's made. People like to see how it's made now, which is, it's weird, but it's just, these behind the scenes stuff always works depending on your business. Local spotlights. This is something that we have been doing with the chamber. Highlighting local businesses has always been fantastic. Helping each other out. If you have a neighboring business or anything like that, and you know they're struggling, or they know they have a new product. I had just seen one of the local businesses here in Perrysburg supporting one of the t-shirts from another local business, which is a neighbor of theirs. It's just stuff like that. So if you know they have something going on and you can support that business just by doing a simple, you know, interview format, it works out really well for local spotlights. A day in the life of, people always want to know, like, people always have in their head like how glamorous, you know, a certain job is or anything like that. Like, you know, Jake that just jumped on, he's just living the life out there. You know, it's just it's so everything's so exciting for him. So everybody wants to know what's going on in his life. That would be something, is just jumping on and saying, hey, this is what we're working on today. And that's one of the things that people really want to see.
Did you see his Viper?
Huh?
Did you see his Viper?
No, did you see mine?
No.
Because I don't have one. Sneak peeks are always, like, if you have a product that you're running, or you're doing like a ribbon cutting or anything like that, sneak peeks the day before always is fantastic to keep things going. And having it kind of scripted out to where, you know, this day you do this day you do this, and then the day of you just make the announcement like, hey, this is coming up. People always love that type of stuff. Tips and advice, something similar to what we're doing right now, giving some tips and some tricks and some advice on how to better your business, or basically talking about your blog post or some expert content. Doing tips and advice, if you want to kind of establish yourself with your audience as an expert in something, continue to give value and tips and advice. That always works out really well. because people always want to take content that you have, and creating content is super easy doing live video, because you can take that video and you can repurpose it on multiple different ways. So that is the BLAST acronym. I would highly suggest, if you're going to do a live video, look at one of these and say, which one am I doing? Because it'll allow you to be able to structure out your video a lot better. Or just wing it. You know, that always works too. Some people love that. You know, if you're on the golf course and you're supporting the Holland Springfield Chamber, the golf outing that's coming up, if you're doing that and, you know, you're picking up the golf tees, or you're doing, you're sponsoring a flag, or you're out there at the beverage cart, stuff like that, people just really enjoy seeing that you're out in the community and you're supporting your community. So that's always another one that people really enjoy doing. Third-party apps. So really the best way to go live is to just go live on Facebook. There are different there are different ways you want to go. There's different platforms. So you can go live now on LinkedIn. You can go live on Facebook. You can go live on YouTube. You can go live on Periscope with Twitter. So Twitter was actually the first company to be able to allow you to go live. They bought Periscope, and then you could go live on Twitter. And then Facebook jumped on the live train and pretty much ruined it for everybody else. And then everybody else kind of tried to kind of jump forward with it. But depending on what platform you're looking for, I know a lot of people are doing some great things doing live video on LinkedIn. They have been kind of the last group. They just probably about 6 months ago, 8 months ago, maybe, started doing live video. But you can do live now. And they're doing really well with it when it comes to influencers and stuff like that. So if I was to say go live, I would recommend just doing it that way. StreamYard is another one where if you want to create like a production, you can pop up the comments on the screen. You can split screen it. You can make graphics. You can put your logo on there. So you can do a lot of stuff with StreamYard. The basic version is free. The pro version, I think, is like maybe $19 a month, which is very affordable for if you're trying to do like a big production or a big show. That's definitely a way to do that. That's fantastic, by the way, Bill.
Thank you.
BeLive is another one. BeLive is almost exactly like StreamYard. I've tested out BeLive before. I prefer StreamYard just for the simplicity of use. And Zoom. Right now, what we're doing right now, we're doing a Zoom call, which could be done a few different ways. Like we're doing this right now as you know, all of the groups, and there's the squares and everything else, but you can actually do an interview format where it's just two people, the screen split, and then you stream it live like we're doing right now. So even though we have our audience of 10, 20, 10, 12 people right now, we actually are doing this live as well. And I know I have people are popping in and out. So, you know, you got 6 people watching live or 10 people watching live or whatever, and then they can actually rewatch the video as well. So Zoom is really fantastic when it comes to being able to incorporate it with live video. So now what? You did your live video. It's all done. Take a deep breath. You did it. You didn't throw up or anything. And if you did, they got you on live camera, so it'll probably go viral. So the thing that I see a lot of people doing is when people are commenting on there, they don't ever go back and engage with the post. Even though the live video is over and people asked you questions that you maybe didn't answer when you were doing the live video, go back and engage with that, because when you engage with it, it brings it back up in their news feed. So they will begin to see it again and they'll see it more. So make sure you're engaging with the audience after the fact. So if somebody commented or said something in the live video that you didn't catch because you were doing the live video, make sure you go back and you comment on those posts, because if you're not, you're missing an opportunity. So live video, now you can save it. So on Zoom, you can just record the whole thing, which reminds me, I think I forgot to hit the record button. So it's good that we're doing it live, because I'll just save it from the live feed. So once you save the video, you can repurpose it. So if you want to put it on your web page, or you want to put it on your a blog, or you want to put it on YouTube, you can now repurpose that video and you can use it for a lot of different stuff. If there was just one specific topic you wanted to edit out, you could cut out all this other stuff and you could just do this topic right now. So we've been talking for about an hour now, but I can just cut out the portion where I'm talking about live video and use that as an educational piece. So doing live video gives you a ton of content to be able to use. And people always say like, well, how do I find time to do all this content? I can take this Zoom video right now and I can repurpose it probably 5 different ways. So if I wanted to take one video, I can use this as my content for probably the entire week. I can do a screenshot, I can do a screen share, I can use the whole video, I can cut out little pieces of the video. So you can use this as more than just a live video. So that is basically being able to repurpose it. So and I think that's pretty much it. And I know Jake jumped on here to talk about some of the stuff that's going on. So I wanted to kind of run through it as quick as I could. And I really didn't. So if anybody have any questions or comments, Bill's man on that for me. So I'm going to stop the share.